Good morning. I'm going to start with a prayer for unity by Bahá'u'lláh. Oh my God, oh my God, unite the hearts of thy servants and reveal to them thy great purpose. May they follow thy commandments and abide in thy law. Help them, O God, in their endeavor, and grant them strength to serve thee. O God, leave them not to themselves, but guide their steps by the light of thy knowledge, and cheer their hearts by thy love. Verily thou art their helper and their Lord. And now, I'm going to say the Tablet of Ahmad. He is the King, the all-knowing, the all-wise. Lo, the nightingale of paradise singeth upon the twigs of the tree of eternity with holy and sweet melodies, proclaiming to the sincere ones the glad tidings of the nearness of God. Calling the believers in the divine unity to the court of the presence of the generous one. Informing the severed ones of the message which hath been revealed by God the King, the glorious, the peerless. Guiding the lovers to the seat of sanctity and to this resplendent beauty. Verily, this is that most great beauty, foretold in the books of the messengers, through whom truth shall be distinguished from error, and the wisdom of every command shall be tested. Verily, he is the tree of life that bringeth forth the fruits of God, the exalted, the powerful, the great. O Ahmad, bear thou witness that verily he is God, and there is no God but him, the King, the Protector, the Incomparable, the Omnipotent. And that the one whom he hath sent forth by the name of Ali was the true one from God, to whose commands we are all conforming. Say, O people, be obedient to the ordinances of God, which have been enjoined in the Bayan by the glorious, the wise one. Verily, he is the King of the messengers, and his book is the mother book, did ye but know. Thus doth the nightingale utter his call unto you from this prison. He hath but to deliver this clear message. Whosoever desireth, let him turn aside from this counsel. And whosoever desireth, let him choose the path to his Lord. O people, if ye deny these verses, by what proof have ye believed in God? Produce it, O assemblage of false ones. Nay, by the one in whose hand is my soul. They are not and never shall be able to do this, even should they combine to assist one another. O Ahmad, forget not my bounties while I am absent. Remember my days during thy days, and my distress and banishment in this remote prison, and be thou so steadfast in my love that thy heart shall not waver, even if the swords of the enemies rain blows upon thee, and all the heavens and the earth arise against thee. Be thou as a flame of fire to mine enemies, and a river of life eternal to my loved ones. And be not of those who doubt. And if thou art overtaken by affliction in my path, or degradation for my sake, be not thou troubled thereby. Rely upon God, thy God and the Lord of thy fathers. For the people are wandering in the paths of delusion, bereft of discernment to see God with their own eyes, or hear his melody with their own ears. Thus have we found them, as thou also dost witness. Thus have their superstitions become veils between them and their own hearts, kept them from the path of God, exalted the great. Be thou assured in thyself that verily he who turns away from this beauty hath also turned away from the messengers of the past, and showeth pride towards God from all eternity to all eternity. Learn well this tablet, O Ahmad. Chant it during thy days, and withhold not thyself therefrom, for verily God hath ordained for the one who chants it the reward of 100 martyrs, and a service in both worlds. These favors have we bestowed upon thee as a bounty on our part, and a mercy from our presence, that thou mayest be of those who are grateful. By God, should one who is in affliction or grief read this tablet with absolute sincerity, God will dispel his sadness, solve his difficulties, and remove his afflictions. Verily he is the merciful, the compassionate. Praise be to God, the Lord of all the worlds. Okay. I'm going to read some more prayers. Oh, looks like my prayer book is... Oh, here it is. Good morning, everybody. It's great to have you with me. I'm so excited. Just give me a second here. And I will be right with you. Okay. Here's a prayer by Bahá'u'lláh. I magnify thy name, O my God, and offer thanksgiving unto thee, O my desire. Inasmuch as thou hast enabled me to clearly perceive thy straight path, hast unveiled thy great announcement before mine eyes, and hast aided me to set my face towards the dayspring of thy revelation and the fountainhead of thy cause, whilst thy servants and thy people turned away from thee. I entreat thee, O Lord of the kingdom of eternity, by the shrill voice of the pen of glory, and by the burning fire which calleth aloud from the verdant tree, and by the ark which thou hast specially chosen for the people of Baha', to grant that I may remain steadfast in my love for thee, be well pleased with whatsoever thou hast prescribed for me in thy book, and may stand firm in thy service and in the service of thy loved ones. Graciously assist then thy servants, O my God, to do that which will serve to exalt thy cause, and will enable them to observe whatsoever thou hast revealed in thy book. Verily thou art the Lord of strength. Thou art potent to ordain whatsoever thou willest, and within thy grasp thou holdest the reins of all created things. No God is there but thee, the all-powerful, the all-knowing, the all-wise. Good morning again. Here is a prayer by Bahá'u'lláh. Glorified be thy name, O Lord my God. I beseech thee, by thy power that hath encompassed all created things, and by thy sovereignty that hath transcended the entire creation, and by thy word, which was hidden in thy wisdom, and whereby thou didst create thy heaven and thine earth, both to enable us to be steadfast in our love for thee, and in our obedience to thy pleasure, and to fix our gaze upon thy face and celebrate thy glory. Empower us then, O my God, to spread abroad thy signs among thy creatures, and to guard thy faith in thy realm. Thou hast ever existed independently of the mention of any of thy creatures, and wilt remain as thou hast been forever and ever. In thee I have placed my whole confidence. Unto thee I have turned my face. To the cord of thy loving providence I have clung, and towards the shadow of thy mercy I have hastened. Cast me not as one disappointed out of thy door, O my God, and withhold not from me thy grace, for thee alone do I seek. No God is there beside thee, the ever-forgiving, the most bountiful. Praise be to thee, O thou who art the beloved of them that have known thee. Bahá'u'lláh. O thou whose nearness is my wish, whose presence is my hope, whose remembrance is my desire, whose court of glory is my goal, whose abode is my aim, whose name is my healing, whose love is the radiance of my heart, whose service is my highest aspiration. I beseech thee by thy name, through which thou hast enabled them that have recognized thee to soar to the sublime heights of the knowledge of thee, and empowered such as devoutly worship thee to ascend into the precincts of the court of thy holy favors, to aid me to turn my face towards thy face, to fix mine eyes upon thee, and to speak of thy glory. I am the one, O my Lord, who hath forgotten all else but thee, and turned towards the dayspring of thy grace, who hath forsaken all save thyself, in the hope of drawing nigh unto thy court. Behold me then, with mine eyes lifted up towards the seat that shineth with the splendors of the light of thy face. Send down then upon me, O my beloved, that which will enable me to be steadfast in thy cause, so that the doubts of the infidels may not hinder me from turning towards thee. Thou art verily the God of power, the help in peril, the all-glorious, the almighty. So, I'll read some more prayers later. Right now, I'm going to read from this little book, Spiritual Strength for Men, selections from the writings of Baha'u'lláh, the Bab, and Abdul-Baha. And this is just a compilation somebody put together for men, but it's just as applicable to women, so. Here's a quote by Baha'u'lláh. There lay concealed within the holy veil and prepared for the service of God a company of his chosen ones who shall be manifested unto men, who shall aid his cause, who shall be afraid of no one, though the entire human race rise up and war against them. These are the ones who, before the gaze of the dwellers on earth and the denizens of heaven, shall arise and, shouting aloud, acclaim the name of the Almighty and summon the children of men to the path of God, the all-glorious, the all-praised. Walk thou in their way, and let no one dismay thee. Be of them whom the tumult of the world, however much it may agitate them in the path of their Creator, can never sadden, whose purpose the blame of the blamer will never defeat. Go forth with the tablet of God and his signs, and rejoin them that have believed in me, and announce unto them tidings of our most holy paradise. And now I'm going to continue my reading from the summons of the Lord of Hosts. This is a compilation of tablets by Bahá'u'lláh, which contain letters that he wrote to the kings and the rulers of the world during from the 1860s up through probably the 1880s, when he was a prisoner during his third and fourth banishment, because he was banished 4 times. He was hounded and chased from land to land and imprisoned for 40 years. And during that time, he wrote letters to the kings and rulers of the world. This letter that we're reading now is the 3rd tablet in this book. It's called Lawh-i-Ra'ís. I don't know if I'm pronouncing it correctly. It's the tablet to Ali Pasha. Ali Pasha was the prime minister of the Ottoman Empire in the 1860s, and he was responsible for horrendous persecution and martyrdom of the followers of Baha'u'lláh. And this tablet was the 2nd letter that Baha'u'lláh addressed to him. And we're in the middle of it. And he's talking to Ali Pasha. Think not that thou hast debased this youth or prevailed over him. The least of creatures ruleth over thee, and yet thou perceivest not. The lowliest and most abject of all things holdeth sway over thee, and that is none other than self and passion, which have ever been reprehensible. Were it not for God's consummate wisdom, thou wouldst have been able to plainly behold thine own helplessness, and that of all who dwell on earth. Our abasement is indeed the glory of his cause, could ye but understand. So, this is very harsh, as you can see. But this man, earlier in this tablet, Baha'u'lláh addresses him saying, how could you persecute even the children and the nursing mothers? That this has never been seen before in any revelation from God. This is the only place that I have ever seen in Baha'u'llah's writings where he actually comes out and says, there's no hope for this man. Apparently his cruelty was immeasurable. So Baha'u'lláh is saying to him, you're priding yourself on your position and your wealth and your power. But in truth, you are the lowliest of human creatures. If you could see with the eye of truth, if you could see with the eye of God. That's what he's saying to him. And then he says, our abasement is indeed the glory of his cause, could ye but understand. So there are many places where Baha'u'lláh explains that outward abasement can be inward glory. That accepting abasement for the cause of God is glorious, which is what Jesus did. He allowed himself to be martyred for the cause of God, but that's his glory. That's what Baha'u'lláh is saying there. This youth hath ever been disinclined to breathe a word contrary to courtesy, for courtesy is our raiment, wherewith we have adorned the temples of our well-favored servants. Otherwise, some of the deeds that ye believe to be concealed would have been divulged in this tablet. Wow, so he's saying, this is amazing. He's saying, out of consideration and respect for you as a human being, I'm not going to expose some of the things you've done that you think are hidden. Because Baha'u'lláh was the manifestation of God. He knew everything. O exponent of might and power, these young children and these poor ones in God did not need to be accompanied by officers and soldiers. Upon our arrival in Gallipoli, a major by the name of Umar came into our presence. God is well aware of what he said. After some exchanges in which his own innocence and thy guilt were mentioned, we declared from the outset a gathering should have been convened, at which the learned men of this age could have met with this youth, in order to determine what offense these servants have committed. But now the matter hath gone beyond such considerations, and according to thine own assertion, thou art charged with incarcerating us in the most desolate of cities. There is a matter which, if thou findest it possible, I request thee to submit to his majesty the Sultan, that for 10 minutes this youth be enabled to meet him, so that he may demand whatsoever he deemeth as a sufficient testimony and regardeth as proof of the veracity of him who is the truth. Should God enable him to produce it, let him. Then release these wronged ones and leave them to themselves. So again, he mentions the children and his followers who voluntarily followed him into exile. And he's saying they didn't need to be guarded by officers and soldiers. And he's saying from the beginning, we asked from the very beginning that we be brought together with those who are our enemies, who say that we're subverting the cause of God, with the leaders of religion, with the leaders of government, so that we could talk to them, so that we could meet them. It didn't happen. And things went so far as now it was his 4th banishment, when he was going to be incarcerated in the prison city of Akka in Palestine, a walled prison city that they, looking out on the Bay of Haifa, that they said birds flying over Akka would drop dead from the stench. That's where they sent him. He's asking this officer who clearly is doing his duty but doesn't like it. He's saying, go to the Sultan. See if you can secure an audience with him for me, so that these innocent, beleaguered, persecuted people can be left in peace. He promised to transmit this message and to give us his reply. We received, however, no news from him. Although it becometh not him who is the truth to present himself before any person, inasmuch as all have been created to obey him, yet in view of the condition of these little children and the large number of women so far removed from their friends and countries, we have acquiesced in this matter. In spite of this, nothing hath resulted. Umar himself is alive and accessible. Inquire from him, that the truth may be made known unto you. So he's saying that he's the manifestation of God for this age. In every age of 500 to 1,000 years, God sends a messenger, a divine messenger to the world, be it a Moses or a Jesus or a Muhammad or a Buddha or a Christ, to guide the people. And that in this day it's Bahá'u'lláh. And he's saying that when that manifestation of God appears, he is the truth. He is the Word of God. And that he doesn't need to go before anybody and plead his cause, because it's the responsibility of humanity to recognize him. He says, but because of the children and the women who are suffering so terribly, he deigned to do this, but nothing happened. Nothing came of it. Most of our companions now lie sick in this prison, and none knoweth what befell us except God, the Almighty, the All-Knowing. In the days following our arrival, 2 of these servants hastened to the realms above, so two of the followers passed away. For an entire day, the guards insisted that unless they were paid for the shrouds and burial, these blessed bodies could not be removed, although no one had requested any help from them. At that time we were devoid of earthly means, and pleaded that they leave the matter unto us and allow those present to carry the bodies, but they refused. Finally, a carpet was taken to the bazaar to be sold, and the sum obtained was delivered to the guards. Later, it was learned that they had merely dug a shallow grave into which they had placed both blessed bodies, although they had taken twice the amount required for shrouds and burials. The pen is powerless to depict, and the tongue faileth to describe the trials which we have suffered. Yet sweeter than honey to me is the bitterness of such tribulations. Would that at every instant all the afflictions of the world could, in the path of God, and for the sake of his love, be visited upon this evanescent soul who is immersed in the ocean of divine knowledge. We implore God for patience and forbearance, inasmuch as thou art but a feeble creature, and bereft of comprehension. Wert thou to awaken, and inhale the fragrance of the breezes that waft from the retreats of eternity, thou wouldst readily abandon all that thou dost possess, and in which thou rejoice, and choose to abide in one of the dilapidated rooms of this most great prison. Beseech God to grant thee such mature understanding as to enable thee to distinguish praiseworthy actions from those which merit blame. Peace be upon him who followeth the way of guidance. And tomorrow we'll read the next tablet in this book. The next tablet is called the Lawh-i-Fuad. We'll find out who Fuad is. Okay, yeah. We'll talk about that tomorrow. So now I'm going to go back to the prayers. And I'm going to recite some special prayers. By the way, I want to invite anybody who's watching to feel free to ask questions, make comments. If you want to come on board and read prayers or otherwise contribute your knowledge or your questions or anything, just type it into the comments section because and I will see it and I can bring you on board or just answer the questions or talk about whatever it is, share what you want to say. So I'm going to recite the tablet for the northeastern states, and this is a tablet that was revealed by Baha'u'llah's son Abdul-Baha, who was a prisoner with him for 40 years. And he was an old man when he was released from prison, and one of the first things he did was to come to this country because he wanted to talk to the Americans, and he sometimes had as many as 3 addresses a day. He went to churches and synagogues, and he went to the Bowery to speak with the poor, and he went to women's suffrage meetings and all kinds of associations and spoke to people about his father's cause. And after he returned to Palestine, he revealed this prayer. He revealed prayers for the different sections of the United States and Canada. And this prayer was revealed for the northeastern states, and the believers in the northeastern states are asked to say it every day. And this is how it goes. O thou kind Lord, praise be unto thee, that thou hast shown us the highway of guidance. Open the doors of the kingdom and manifested thyself through the Son of reality. To the blind thou hast given sight. To the deaf thou hast granted hearing. Thou hast resuscitated the dead. Thou hast enriched the poor. Thou hast shown the way to those who have gone astray. Thou hast led those with parched lips to the fountain of guidance. Thou hast suffered the thirsty fish to reach the ocean of reality, and thou hast invited the wandering birds to the rose garden of grace. O thou Almighty, we are thy servants and thy poor ones. We are remote and yearn for thy presence, are athirst for the water of thy fountain, are ill, longing for thy healing. We are walking in thy path and have no aim or hope, save the diffusion of thy fragrance, so that all souls may raise the cry of, O God, guide us to the straight path. May their eyes be open to behold the light. May they be freed from the darkness of ignorance. May they gather around the lamp of thy guidance. May every portionless one receive a share. May the deprived become the confidants of thy mysteries. O Almighty, look upon us with the glance of mercifulness. Grant us heavenly confirmation. Bestow upon us the breath of the Holy Spirit, so that we may be assisted in thy service, and like unto brilliant stars, shine in these regions with the light of thy guidance. Verily thou art the powerful, the mighty, the wise, and the seeing. Okay, we're going to read some more prayers here. Here's a prayer for children. O Lord, make these children excellent plants. Let them grow and develop in the garden of thy covenant, and bestow freshness and beauty through the outpourings from the clouds of thine all-glorious kingdom. O thou kind Lord, I am a little child. Exalt me by admitting me to thy kingdom. I am earthly, make me heavenly. I am of the world below. Let me belong to the realm above. Gloomy, suffer me to become radiant. Material, make me spiritual, and grant that I may manifest thine infinite bounties. Thou art the powerful, the loving. And I'm going to read this prayer for America, in which Abdu'l-Baha revealed after he returned to Palestine from the United States. He praises America in this in this prayer. He praises our form of government, and he praises us. And I believe that that's because our form of government is built on input from the people, and I think that's what he's praising. I don't think he's clearly we are not perfect. I mean, that's obvious. And he's really praying that we become spiritualized. O thou kind Lord, this gathering is turning to thee. These hearts are radiant with thy love. These minds and spirits are exhilarated by the message of thy glad tidings. O God, let this American democracy become glorious in spiritual degrees, even as it has aspired to material degrees, and render this just government victorious. Confirm this revered nation to upraise the standard of the oneness of humanity, to promulgate the most great peace, to become thereby most glorious and praiseworthy among all the nations of the world. O God, this American nation is worthy of thy favors and is deserving of thy mercy. Make it precious and near to thee through thy bounty and bestowals. And now I'm going to recite a prayer for the departed. When I recite prayers for the departed, I think about all of my friends and relatives who are among them, and it's such a wonderful feeling to be praying for them and thinking of them, because I feel like I'm with them and that I'm doing something for them and showing my love. It's a beautiful experience. He is God. Exalted is He, the Lord of loving kindness and bounty. Glory be unto thee, thou, O my God, the Lord omnipotent. I testify to thine omnipotence and thy might, thy sovereignty and thy loving kindness, thy grace and thy power, the oneness of thy being and the unity of thine essence, thy sanctity and exaltation above the world of being and all that is therein. O my God, thou seest me detached from all save thee, holding fast unto thee, and turning unto the ocean of thy bounty, to the heaven of thy favor, to the day star of thy grace. Lord, I bear witness that in thy servant thou hast reposed thy trust, and that is the Spirit wherewith thou hast given life to the world. I ask of thee, by the splendor of the orb of thy revelation, mercifully to accept from him that which he hath achieved in thy days. Grant then that he may be invested with the glory of thy good pleasure and adorned with thine acceptance. O my Lord, I myself and all created things bear witness unto thy might, and I pray thee not to turn away from thyself this Spirit that hath ascended unto thee, unto thy heavenly place, thine exalted paradise, and thy retreats of nearness. O thou who art the Lord of all men. Grant then, O my God, that thy servant may consort with thy chosen ones, thy saints, and thy messengers, in heavenly places that the pen cannot tell, nor the tongue recount. O my Lord, the poor one hath verily hastened unto the kingdom of thy will. The stranger unto his home within thy precincts, he that is sore athirst to the heavenly river of thy bounty. Deprive him not, O Lord, from his share of the banquet of thy grace, and from the favor of thy bounty. Thou art in truth the Almighty, the gracious, the all-bountiful. O my God, thy trust hath been returned unto thee. It behoveth thy grace and thy bounty that have compassed thy dominions on earth and in heaven, to vouchsafe unto thy newly welcomed one thy gifts and thy bestowals, and the fruits of the tree of thy grace. Powerful art thou to do as thou willest. There is none other God but thee, the gracious, the most bountiful, the compassionate, the bestower, the pardon, the precious, the I testify, O my Lord, that thou hast enjoined upon men to honor their guests. And he that hath ascended unto thee hath verily reached thee and attained thy presence. Deal with him then, according to thy grace and bounty. By thy glory, I know of a certainty that thou wilt not withhold thyself from that which thou hast commanded thy servants, nor wilt thou deprive him that hath clung to the court of thy bounty, and hath ascended to the dayspring of thy will. There is none other God but thee, the one, the single, the powerful, the omniscient. And I'm going to now recite Abdu'l-Baha's Tablet of Visitation. This is recited in his tomb, and it's also used in private prayer. He is the All-Glorious. O God, my God, lowly and tearful, I raise my suppliant hands to thee and cover my face in the dust of that threshold of thine. Exalted above the knowledge of the learned and the praise of all that glorify thee. Graciously look upon thy servant, humble and lowly, at thy door with the glances of the eye of thy mercy, and immerse him in the ocean of thine eternal grace. Lord, he is a poor and lowly servant of thine, enthralled and imploring thee, captive in thy hand, praying fervently to thee, trusting in thee, in tears before thy face, calling to thee and beseeching thee, saying, O Lord my God, give me thy grace to serve thy loved ones. Strengthen me in my servitude to thee. Illumine my brow with the light of adoration in thy court of holiness and of prayer to thy kingdom of grandeur. Lord, help me to be selfless at the heavenly entrance of thy gate, and aid me to be detached from all things within thy holy precincts. Lord, give me to drink from the chalice of selflessness. With its robe, clothe me, and in its ocean, immerse me. Make me as dust in the pathway of thy loved ones, and grant that I may offer up my soul for the earth, ennobled by the footsteps of thy chosen ones in that path. O Lord of glory in the highest, with this prayer doth thy servant call thee at dawntide and in the night season. Fulfill his heart's desire. Illumine his heart, gladden his bosom, kindle his light, that he may serve thy cause and thy servants. Thou art the bestower, the pitiful, the all-bountiful, the gracious, the merciful, the compassionate. I would love it if you said hi. I'm going to end with my prayer for us today. I pray that each one of us may touch some soul today in a way that uplifts them and brings more light into their life. I pray that we may be strengthened to show love to even those who hurt us, to put our trust and faith in God. Ya Bahá'u'lláh, O thou glory of the Most Great.